everyone. Such a joy to the privilege to meet you people online, and also some of our friends are here physically. Happy anniversary, really Corpus. Great achievement. Really, it's an honor for us to be associated with you on these very special occasions. God bless you. We are great blessing to me, undoubtedly. Also want to thank God for enabling us to come this far in our journey with Him, journey both of us together. Really want to thank God for that. God has really blessed us with the wonderful gift of salvation, grace, mercy, patience, so much. And also, somehow, He put the passion and zeal to both of us, and He is sustaining it and He is nurturing it. I'm 70 and she is just 65. I really want to thank God for bringing us this far. Before I start my story, I just want to tell a few things, or maybe just one or two. Sometimes maybe the PowerPoint thing may not exactly, I won't repeat those things. Some might miss, some might add. So I usually like to do things spontaneously. So, louder, huh? Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. So some I might say more, some I may ignore, but it's in a sequence, so you won't miss much. And before I start our story, I want to share a small story. It's a story in our story that explains who we are. It seems a Chinese man had a pot, and every day he used to take his pot to a pond and fill with water, and he used to take it home. But unfortunately, this pot had a small hole. By the time he reached his home, there was only half full water. So most of the water was gone. So one day this pot spoke to him, "Sir, why do you take this trouble of taking me to the pond and fetching water to your home? Not much is left. I'm so embarrassed. Please discard me." That's what the pot told the master, and he said, "Come, I'll take you to the pond and let's walk." So as they were coming, he spoke to that pot. He said, "Look, yes, you have a hole, but have you seen these plants with flowers? As I was bringing water that was leaking from you, just watered these plants, and now we have a nice flowering plants. So don't worry." Many times God has just assured us, encouraged us, and comforted us because we are also almost like those that part. But God is so gracious. He is magnanimous, and somehow He has brought us this far. So this explains who we are, and this explains what kind of God we are serving. And then coming to our story, I am the eldest in a family of 7 siblings. My parents, late James Paul and late Mrs. Rani Paul, they are from Kurnool and Kadapa. And most of my childhood is more secular than Christian because we were in different places. As in some places there were not good churches close by. Anyway, my childhood was more secular than Christian. But in 1965, my parents moved to a place called Ongole in Andhra. There I attended ABM High School, American Baptist Missionary School, Mission School. And for the first time, I was exposed to that heritage, that Christianity, because in that school we have assembly every morning. They used to sing songs from Andhra Christian hymn book, hymnal, and also short message by our staff, our teachers. Wonderful. I used to look forward to the assembly first time every day, listening to Christian hymns and also listening to God's word. I was so blessed, so blessed. And after my college in same place, Mongol, I couldn't get into medicine, so I joined BSc in Andhra Laila College, Vijayawada. So one summer vacation, I just came to our home. A classmate of mine, a very close friend of mine in school, late Sadananda Raju, he came and shared the gospel. He told me about our sinfulness, that we should confess. In the beginning, I didn't really understand what he was trying to tell me. But later on, I understood. And one evening, we both knelt down and I prayed, asked God to forgive me my sins. It was a very short prayer, but it was full of sincerity, and God just answered my prayer in such a marvelous way. As Peter has mentioned, joy unspeakable, full of glory, filled my heart. Then I know this is born again experience. And after that, there was so much of passion in me to read the Word of God. 72, I went to Karnool Medical College to start my medical studies. There I drifted a lot on the Lord. There were so many ups and downs. But this boy, my classmate Sadananda Raju, he came to Karnool twice, all the way from Ongole. He came a wonderful man of God, but he lived very, had a short life. After he came to know the Lord, he just lived for 3-4 years and he died. Anyway, he came to Karnool twice, introduced me to a friend called Brother Satkit Rao. Some of you may be knowing, great man of God. He was staff member of USA. First time he introduced me, he asked Brother Satkit, take care of me. He said yes, but I never visited him again. Second time again he came and took me. I still remember what Satkirti told about me. He told Sadananda Raju, hey, your friend is too slippery. He never came again. It was true. So then afterwards, my medical college days, somehow I was so fascinated by this man's love for God, and slowly he helped me to come back to the Lord. Final year again, it was full restoration. And during my internship, I I was just started thinking about missions and these mission hospitals. After my housemanship, a relative of mine asked us, shared the need in a hospital in a small place called Sankeshwar, Belgaum districts of Karnataka. So we both prayed, and I still remember he came to the station. We both knelt down on the platform. He prayed, and I moved to Sankeshwar. But I stayed only for 2 months. 2 months, wonderful experience. In that place, there were three nurses two from Australia and one from England. They already spent more than 4 decades of their life in that hospital. Small place, very dull place, but I don't know how this day. I really admired, and first time I have understood the commitment. Second thing is this hospital originally was a leprosy hospital, but during summer they used to bring the children of those leprosy patients, and they used to take care of them, because if they go back to their villages, they will be ostracized. Just to protect their psyche, these people took so much of care. I was so amazed, so touched. During the time, Sister Keys from England, she gave me 2 books. She gave me one book. I picked up one from the library. That book was Ten Fingers for God, written by Dorothy Clark Wilson. I really was so blessed. Then the other book is written by Alan Redpath, the Baptist pastor, Victorious Christian Living, The Life of Joshua. Fantastic book. Both really laid solid foundations for my further life. And during the time, my parents asked me to come back to my hometown. They were thinking about my marriage. So I came back to Karnool. Now, Shobha will start her story.
Happy anniversary to Unipurpose. It's too big an honor for people like us to be part of this, and we are so grateful to the Lord, so grateful to you guys. Well, I came to know the Lord too in my teenage. I'm from a Christian family. My father, named Dr. Joseph Mumali, he used to tell us stories and morals, but not so much from the Bible. He came to know the Lord just a few months before he passed away, for which I'm really grateful. My mother was the one who sent us to church and Sunday school. As a teenager, I was rebellious, lonely, kind of confused, but did well in college and was a proud person. But then during that time, my sister, she was the one who came to know the Lord first, a gospel lady, and she was praying for me. I could tell that. In my first year medicine, Mrs. Jaikumar, she's a lecturer. She used to teach the Bible to my sister and her friends. Jaika, as we call her, she took interest in me, and one day she talked to me about God's love. She described God's love so much, and that I'm so drawn to this loving God. She talked to me about how God changed her life and how he could change mine too, if only I could try him. She sounded so non-invasive, and it was so absolutely no pressure at all. This appealed to me, and I went home and did just that. I knelt down and I prayed and asked the Lord to forgive me. As I was just praying, I could feel the Holy Spirit God convicting me of my sin. Before that, I didn't even believe that God exists. But somehow on that day, listening to her story, I thought I should try this God. And God did answer my prayer. Nothing fantastic and nothing spectacular happened, but I knew I was forgiven. And that's when I started my journey with Jesus. My sister and especially Jaika helped me in my journey. She still does. So that's when I learned to have my quiet time and started growing in my love for the Lord. In my second year, I attended an IEM conference. There I heard Mr. G. John at that time say something that really touched my heart and that can never get away from my mind. He said, in this country, there are today we have people who don't know if Jesus Christ is a person or a thing. That touched my heart, and I said, well, I should be available to God to do what little I can in our country. And then I had the great privilege of seeing some slides. Those days, they used to project slides. We didn't have all this. These slides were about Dr.Manohar and Dr. Shanisha's work in Danta, Gujarat. This really touched my heart, and there again I knelt down and gave my life to the Lord once more for missions.
Yeah, in 1980, Brother Satkirti, my friend, guide, philosopher, and coach, he was the one who introduced me and Shobha to each other. We both prayed about our future, about our marriage, and God really clearly spoke to both of us. And we got married in 12th January 1980. Then we started thinking about our future because both are unemployed. And during the time, we applied to several hospitals, maybe 5 or 6. They all wanted us to come and join those hospitals. But at the time, we received a letter from Dr. Nakliana, great man of God. He was a doctor from Mizoram, but he was working as a staff of EMFI. I always describe Dr. Nakliana. I never saw Lord Jesus Christ face to face, but whenever I saw Dr. Nakliana, I used to think maybe Jesus Christ would be like him. Such a great man of God, such humble. Oh, I am so sad that many of you didn't have seen that kind of people. It's a great privilege for me and for Shobha that we met such wonderful people and worked with them. So that's why we are here, really. Anyway, so we got married and then we were praying. During that time, we used to read a daily devotional, Springs in the Valley, gifted to us by our friend Dr. David Livingston, who is now in Georgia. So he was the one who gave on 20th February, Springs in the Valley. God spoke to us. But during the time when Dr. Nakliana had previously written a letter, and in that letter he said he showed us about the need of a hospital in a place called Kachwa, Uttar Pradesh, very close to Varanasi. And then I still remember the last sentence. He said, can you think as the Macedonian call for you? And February 20th, God spoke to us. We said yes. And we wrote to EHA that we would like to come and join. They were so happy. They asked us to come. Shobha stayed back for a few days. I went ahead to a place called Herbertpur. There we met another hero, Dr. Simon Soto, a Japanese American. His wife is English, Ivan Soto. So I went there and it's a big, small hospital, but it's huge work. Abdominal perineal resection, so many things they were doing left and right. So I was there for a few months and Shobha joined me maybe by June or so. I was there and one thing I learned at that time, we really didn't understand the word grace that much, either theoretically or experientially because of our church background. It was a little bit more legalistic do's and don'ts. But this man was really, now we understand why he could be like that. Dr. Soto, great man. So after working there for a few months, we moved to Kachwa. In fact, the mission asked us, why don't you stay back in Herbertpur? Foolishly, we said no, but it was good because this exposed our inadequacies, made us humble, and we understood how can God use a big vessel, weaker vessels like us in a difficult place like Kachwa. Okay, a little bit background about this place, Kachwa. Kachwa Christian Hospital is very close to Varanasi of Mirzapur district, close to River Ganga. This place is called, was or is called as Vellore of the North. A great man, a great surgeon called Dr. James Neville Everard. He worked in that place from 1929 to 1972 now. 1929 to 1979. He left the place in 1972. When we joined in 80, he wrote a letter to our then medical superintendent, Dr. Anne Arcott, another Scottish lady. He said, please tell Manohar and Shobha that I am praying for them every week, Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Then we were there. It was not easy. Work was exciting, but we were so inadequate. Trained in government medical college, what will we know? So we were there. We developed some friendships and also ministry. I mean, just sharing the gospel with the patient. But it was a very tough day. You have no idea how these places would be in the 80s with Thakurs and Brahmins dominating. A terrible place, but God has really protected us. During that time, several friends visited us. Arthur Pope, and then General Secretary of US, he visited us. Then Brother P.C. Varghese, another staff of US, he visited us. And then Prakash Yasudian, late Prakash Yasudian, one of our friends, he visited us with a team from Bangalore, Acts Institute. They saw the place and they thought, why not we started school in this place? So we were catalysts in those negotiations between the mission and those people. There was a big, huge, almost like a palace that was vacant, so they took it over. And then now it happened maybe around 82 or so. There is a good Christian school with more than 1,500 students. And it seems these people would tell them, say, in this school we teach Bible, we teach our songs. If you are if it's okay with you, you admit your child. Later on, you should not have any problem. Just imagine from 82 onwards, hundreds and hundreds of children in that area exposed to gospel, exposed to Christian hymns. Beautiful, no? So that's our take home point in that place. We had to, we were, as I said, it was not so easy. Our son has come already, 80 November, tomorrow is his birthday. So he was there. Not easy for us to take care of him. So I had to take him and leave him with our parents. Our inadequacy, stress, not easy. Then 81 Christmas, we came home. There was an entrance. I just took the entrance. Some God really blessed my effort there or my performance there. I got into MSCND. Maybe it is a break from the Lord or our failure, whatever the later would decide. But we got a break and we moved home. But I just want to, there is a picture. You can see some of the things that we learned in this place from Dr. Harkat. She was a ferocious woman in the sense, ferocious in the sense, those Thakurs and Brahmins used to come and attack. I was, in the beginning, I was scared, but this lady, nobody can intimidate. If she says this and that, sorry. One day, one fellow brought the pistol. He said, she didn't even bother. That fellow went. That was the kind of lady. There are few women here, one tall lady, Mrs. Tuck, a short woman in the center, another heroine. She's really great. She loved that hospital so much. She, after her training, she just stuck to that place, Miss Benjamin. The other lady is a Nepalese girl from Darjeeling, Dina. So this is, we learned about their commitment, love for the place of merit. Somewhere long time back, we should be committed to God and also we should be committed to some organization. I see nothing wrong in this thing. So this is our stay in Kachwa. Then we moved back to Hyderabad. I joined MS. Shobha joined government service. She was supporting me. We took turns. First, I did my MSc and joined government service. Shobha was working and she took leave, study leave, and she went for MD microbiology in Kakinada. But this 83 to 92, it's a mixed bag, a real mixed bag. We were staying close to our loved ones, but life was not easy for us. Our jobs, our responsibilities with families and finances were very, very insufficient. We used to leave our son in the crush. Only I say 9 to 12, but sometimes it extends every day. Those people were not happy, but we didn't have that much money. We experienced many difficulties. Then I have met with an accident, road accident, multiple fractures, in and out of hospital for 3 years. During that time, we had two children, two girls, both of them, we lost both of them, Vandana and Spandana. And these are some of the things that were happening in our lives. But we never questioned God, why it's happening to us. I don't know, not that we are very spiritual, but it was His grace. Never, not even once we questioned why it is happening to us. But during that time, we were involved in Sunday school in Centenary Methodist Church. Our pastor was Pastor Javan Samuel, wonderful man of God, so good messages. Then we were Sunday school teachers, Brother Nalaraj and Sister Grace, another inspiration. This is what I want to encourage all of you. When you meet people, there's so much we can learn. Only we should really care to learn, pick up things from those people. So that we used to take Sunday school. Some of our students have come up so much. Nalaraj Edward's son, Rufus, fellow was my Sunday school student, Shobha student. Some of them, one girl is a nurse in the US. Somehow she found her address and contacted. So many things were happening in Centenary Methodist Church. But as I told you, God has put this passion in us again to go back to North India. During the time, Dr. Simon Sadhu was the General Secretary of EHA. He used to write us asking us to come back. I said no. But after some time, our heart was so tender. One day we went to Sunday worship to our church, Centenary Methodist Church. A pastor from Bangalore, Pastor Sampath Kumar, he had come. Later he became bishop. He was preaching from the book of Nehemiah. And in the book of Nehemiah, he just said one sentence. He said, when God gives us grace, we cross comfort zone. That's all, not scripture. When God gives us grace, we cross comfort zone. That was the one which worked like magic. Within few weeks, we quit our jobs. Shobha went first to, again, we joined back VHA. Before that, I went to see our prospective place of work. I was so scared. There were a lot of jockers crying, shouting in the night. I was really scared. And Dr. Colin Binks over there asked me, what is your decision? I said, I'm not going to come back. But see how God works. I said, I will never come back, but I had to go back. And we were there for 5 glorious years, but very tough. So because when he preached, we made a decision. Shobha went and she went to a place called Raxol, Duncan Hospital. That's the best hospital in EHS. She was there, and our good friend, he's no more. Dr. Anand Rao, he trained Shobha in surgical skills. She was there. I had to stay back because of her schooling. After he finished his exam, we both also went and joined her. We took our luggage, left it in Satarwa, our next mission station, second mission station, went to Raxal. There by the time I went to Raxal, Dr. Andhra went on vacation, and Dr. Elvina Barrett, he was a general surgeon from Goa at that time. I picked up a lot of surgical skills in the place. One simple case I want to tell, a lady met with an accident with the fractured ribs, flail chest. We didn't know how to support those ribs. We read a book called Primary Surgery. Some of the surgeons should read that book. It's really good. Primary surgery, they gave a procedure using towel clips for the ribs and pulling it up with traction. Wonderfully worked well. So these are some of the things that we used to do. And this place is so good. Okay, one thing about this Roxal is we understood the innovative methods of this missionaries. When there is passion for you to do something for God, even nothing can stop them. So this is a border place of border town between Raxal is border town between Nepal and India. Nepal was a close country. So these people have a hospital at the border. So a lot of Nepalis used to come for treatment. Invariably, most of them would become believers and go back and share the gospel. So gospel also was introduced in a close country because of a mission hospital. Fantastic. So after our training, we went to our, not Waterloo, near Waterloo. This is Sandarva. In Kachwa, we were inadequate. Here also we are partially inadequate in the sense, this is also a big surgical center. Me and Shobha, I am a trained ENT surgeon for 9 years. I have not seen any other general patient, only ENT. Because in Hyderabad, our hospital is separate. Shobha is a microbiologist, and we went to work in a surgical center. It was not easy, very difficult. We learned new skills. More than that, that was a stressful thing. Learning all techniques. Even in the beginning, we used to so scared when we see a pregnant woman. Should we should deliver or should we do cesarean? Making a decision also was not so easy. Anyway, so we were there. More than our inadequacy, we faced so much of rejection because of misunderstanding of the staff. We were thoroughly rejected, and that really hurt us so much. And Arpan also had big problems because of his schooling. He didn't have good friends there because we both are medical. I was medical director, and the staff didn't like us because they misunderstood us. And the staff's children, they didn't like Arpan. It was not easy for Arpan. So it was not easy for us. He was having problem. We were having problem during that time. But the good thing is, I picked up surgical skills so quickly, so fast. I used to do almost everything, general surgery, ortho, gynae, anesthesia. Even one surgeon, one doctor, anesthetist taught me how to give epidural. So many things we were doing. Shobha used to do Bible studies for the nurses, nursing students. Our nursing school students, they come from different parts of India, North India. So many girls, they have come to know the Lord and they went to their states. It's so wonderful. Joanna, Margaret, Wilson, Srivastava, Emil, so many people. So we really want to thank God that God has given us an opportunity, though they were rejected in the beginning. We did so well in that place, Satbarba. Later on, the people started liking us, loving us. You won't believe. When I was leaving, they were all crying. They don't want us to leave the place, but because of our schooling, we had to. Shobha moved to Hyderabad a year before I moved, and God was so good. That's about Sabbarva, and some beautiful things I forgot. One is our helper. His name is Birju, and he wanted when he one day I shared the gospel case. I accepted the Lord. He came and told Shobha, Didi, you know English, you know how to read. I don't know how to read. Then we asked one Ramji Mehato, our friend, he is an evangelist and a pastor, asked him to teach Hindi to read and write to this fellow Birju. You know what happened was when he started reading and writing, it was a big thing in their village. So a lot of people, young people, they came and asked us, can you teach us also? So we started a adult education. Shobha bought so many those charts, so many things from Hyderabad. So it was a evenings adult education. During that time, this fellow Birju had one half brother, Began. He also came. We both sent Birju and Began to a place called Madhupur for Bible training. Our fellow came back, ran back, but this fellow Began stayed back, and now he is an evangelist working with a Christian organization, doing wonderful work in a place called Lohardaga. That's another thing. And Bihar also is a very tough place. Lot of rough fellows. The toughies, they used to come and threaten because the hospital staff mostly they were tribals. They were so scared of these locals. But God sent me from Kadapa and Karnool combination, so I was there. So he was really strengthened me. You won't believe they were scared of me. Some people twice they came to our house in the night with a pistol and they took me out. Shobha was so scared, she was praying, and God really saved me. So these are some of the things. We were good friends of all the administration, collector, DAG, those people were good friends. They used to come. And during that time, we did Silver Jubilee of EHR. Some of the pictures are there. And this is our theater, that girl who is there, Archana. She's only an ANM. We had BS nurses also, but she was so good. So I used to ask her to assist me. This is about Bihar. So I had to come back. You can see these pictures. This is our staff. The two fellows who are standing behind are medical students from Ranchi Medical College. In the next picture, we have one slide. This youth with the mission team, 7 members. This is Arpan's birthday. They came and stayed with us for 6 weeks to do their outreach. 6 weeks they stayed with us. In Bihar, they went to those on a bazaar day, did open air preaching. They used to go and never happened. And we had girls from Northeast also, 2 cookies and 2 Nagas. They were having a big fight those days, these 2 tribes, but 4 girls from different opposite tribes, they stayed with us. I was really felt sorry for them. but all four of them in the same room. So something nice thing was happening in Bihar. This is about Bihar. Then we had to come back again because of urban schooling. So when we came back, Shobha joined the government, and I couldn't join because Arpan wanted to go to states. So that fellow, uh, so we needed to support him. So I started a hospital called Navjeevan, same name that in Bihar, Navjeevan Hospital, Shamshabad. This is our staff. All these people, I'm so thankful to God that most of these people are really so much. After we left Shamshabad, they were like almost like hot cakes. Everybody would like to have them in their hospital. They're all employed. During this time, when I was in Shamshabad, Shobha was working in Gandhi Medical College. Her colleague, Dr. Anthony David, another wonderful brother, both have started, some of her proteges or mentees sitting or standing here. So they started doing the Bible studies for them. God has really blessed. When we were there, we had one a summer camp. Nearly 20 students had come. Out of them, 14 people have accepted the Lord. Majority of them are, some of them are in India, Hyderabad and around Hyderabad. Some in UK and USA, they still know the Lord. When we think of these things, our hearts are filled with gratitude. This is that simple theater. I did Nephrectim also in this place. You won't believe. You look at the table. These are our patients. And the boy who is standing there, his wife is a nurse. He was a small-time evangelist, but I also employed him as an evangelist because our hospital mostly surgeries. So they used to say stay for 7 days or 8 days in the hospital. So he used to share the gospel. You won't believe. You should go to the Shamshabad. There is a village called Sultan Pai. He started a church. Most of his congregations are people from high caste, and they take him to Kakinada, Rajahmundry for sharing the gospel in that place. So God has blessed even our stay in this place. I don't know if I have time. I would anyway. So this is our stay in India. We are part of a mission called Global Outreach Mission, Buffalo, New York. We still part of this mission. We are so happy and proud to be part of this great mission. Very simple mission, but we are so happy. So because I had to go to they gave me the opportunity to go to Sierra Leone, a small country in West Africa, and I visited this place around 6 times between 2011 and 2018. Nothing great about my surgical work or clinical work. There only medicine. And one simple thing is, one fellow had a foreign body here, a stone. He was waiting for 3 months for me to come because there was no ENT surgeon around. So I had to do just simple syringing and get the stone out. God gave me the privilege to share the gospel with Muslims. I think they are Ahmadiyya sect, not that violent. They listen to the gospel. Many of them have come to know the Lord. There are some Ahmadiyya pastors also who have accepted the Lord. So that's about Sierra Leone. I just put one name, Bill Fry. It's a beautiful story. This Bill Fry is from New York. He comes looking at, he heard what our mission was doing. So he used to come to this place from 2011 or 12. He would come to this place, Sierra Leone, with a big truck. He brought some of his drilling trucks to Sierra Leone. He would work for 3 months and then he would go back. When he goes back, his brother, they have a big business in Europe. He would come and he would work for 3 months and he would go back again. Brothers worked almost 6 months each. Can you believe? Can we do like that? So I was so surprised, amazed at the commitment of these people. Then Congo, 2013, I stayed there for 3 months. After 12 years, I did not do any case for nearly 12 years. So our mission asked me to go and work there. So God gave me such a privilege to work in this difficult country. He gave me skills, everything I just remembered as if I have been doing. I did lots of cases. I used a bone called fibula as a IM nail for a fracture femur. I did that. I also, a lady, the surgeon, she did hysterectomy. There was a cystocele. I did not know how to do the repair without the support of uterus behind, but I could do that. So some wonderful things I did, and also HIV patient. Almost every second case I operated was a HIV patient. One important thing is there. the Rwandans. You remember there was Hutu and Tutsi people. There was fight in a country called Rwanda. The people walked 11 months to reach this place as if it's a great country. They came and knew that there are a lot of Rwandan churches. And I visited those churches almost every week. I was preaching in some Rwandan church. Great friendships. I really want to thank God for giving me the opportunity. You don't deserve, but somehow it was his prerogative. Who can question? Thank you so much. Now Shobha will share her part.
Well, this was Navjivan Hospital, Shamshabad, as you have seen. Simple place. These are all our staff. We almost lived almost like a family. And everywhere we went, we were a family. So this is our father's world, and somehow a little bit of our heart is in many places. So Shamshabad is one of them. Well, this is a bigger part of my heart. Gandhi, where I worked for 6 years with Dr. Anthony David. We've become very good friends. He's a wonderful brother. We worked together with the students. It was not easy. He had to go through a lot sometimes, but God has been very gracious. And maybe you can recognize one of your own, who was once upon a time our own. Shiva, yes. And many of them. Yeah, here's another bunch. This is where we started off actually. This was in a small school close to Gandhi, old Gandhi, where it was in Shiva. And many of them, all of them actually, by God's grace, except one, are true to the Lord to this day, for which I'm extremely grateful to the Lord. What more do we need? So feel very fulfilled. And they're in different places. Now we are getting back in touch with them. They're married, having children, and they have their own struggles. And well, before we leave this world, I thought we can be there for them for some time. So we're back in touch with them because now we have Zoom. Wherever they are, we can connect. So this is another bunch, another group. Yes, you can recognize some of them, I'm sure. So this was the context. Shamshabad was very fulfilling for Mano. Gandhi was very fulfilling for me. So it was like we almost settled down professionally, ministry-wise. I was doing well as a teacher. I love teaching. So it was all going on very well. During this time, we were worshipping in Secunderabad Bible Fellowship at that time. We were actively involved in the EGF Bible studies also. And we were involved with families, both sides. It was very fulfilling in many ways. There, then something happened. Greg Constable, a young guy, he is actually speaks very Shuddha Hindi and good Telugu also. He is from Canada. He was part of SBF, the Secunderabad Bible Fellowship. Mano and Greg and all these people were on the board. And he needed some, I think, urethral dilatation or something. So he came to the hospital, and our small hospital. Because he was our friend, we put him up in our home upstairs. Home was just 2 rooms. Okay. So we had him in 1 room, and we spent quite a few days together because he had to be with us. During that time, he said, during that time, we also had some Bible studies for Shamshabad Bible College students. They would come home. So he was interacting with patients and students. Hey, you guys can relate to these people as well as the unheard people. So maybe you were made to be missionaries. So then we told him our story and said, now we're here on break or what. God only knows what for Atman's education. That's why we're here, we told him. Then he talked to us about Global Outreach Mission that he was a part of. And he informed the mission. At that time, Arpan had gone away to the US. He was 17. He went there to do his BS. And then for a long time, we didn't hear from him. And we were working hard. Mano was working very hard. every time it was close to the date when we had to send his fee, we would kneel down and pray. Case would come, a party or something, and then we could send the money. So it was working hard to send this money, and we couldn't hear from this fellow for a long time. So we were worried. So we made a trip to the US once, and when we did, Greg had informed the mission that we were coming. So the mission asked us if we could go to this place, Belize, in Central America, and see the place and think about whether we could fit in there. Okay. Well, they paid our fare from Arpan's place to Belize and back to Arpan's place. So it was no big deal. We said, okay, we made our first trip to Belize. There was a lot of HIV there. I was HIV consultant with the EHA. We had 19 places at the hospitals at that time. And so I was going or traveling around these 19 places. So I thought, well, there's HIV here too, maybe we can do something. And the need was so much, we were touched. They're all mostly single mothers. So a lot of crime and teenage pregnancies and sad situation. So we thought maybe we can do something. But we came home to India, and then we were worried. We were not sure if it was our own kind heart or whether God was really leading us to make this important decision. So we took a whole year to make this decision because we were very fulfilled ministry-wise, professionally, in every way. So we didn't know if we had to make such a big move. This is how the Lord led us. Like in Esther, of course, were very, very supportive. No pressure. They prayed with us. Then we had Vijay Ratna Kumar and Aparanji, another couple. He's a PhD. He was moving to Dhaka at that time to as a missionary. So he was also making a very important move, a risky move. And he was also sharing with us. They were both sharing with us about how God was leading them. So that really, they came home, and there were nights when we sang together praying. So we're very grateful for their support. God used so many people. Looking back, it's like an investment that God made, and it's scary because He expects returns, and we are not sure if we have given Him enough returns. Art and Kim were another couple who were also Japanese Americans, I think, who had 2 or 3 kids and who came to India as missionaries. They were talking to us about how they export their kids to India from the beginning, so that they would kind of change with what was happening here and the people. So all these people were very supportive. The Lord spoke to us separately. We both prayed separately in the beginning because we wanted to be sure not to blame each other. And then the Lord spoke to us together too. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I'll counsel you with my eye upon you. Don't be like a horse or a mule. Remember that Psalm 32:8. So that was a verse that came to both of us at different times. As soon as the feet of the priest touched the waters are divided. This was again Joshua chapter 3. This was when we were hesitating and looking for some answer out of the blue. And God said, go ahead, put your feet in the water, and then the waters will divide. You are my witnesses, declares the Lord. This is one thing that we learned from Elizabeth Elliot. She writes this too. You are my witnesses. We thought we were going to serve the Lord, but it was like we would be more blessed. It's always like that, and it will always be that way. We think we'll do something for the Lord, but He does a lot more for us than we do for Him. You are my witnesses, declares the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, so that you may know and believe me and understand that I am He. So this was from Isaiah 43:10. Well, great is His faithfulness. I can't write the bigger caps than that because there's not much space. But from my heart, I can tell you, great is His faithfulness. About 1 year later, we went on our 3rd missionary journey. But I can say Belize, both of us can say that Belize has been the best part of our lives so far. Well, this time we began better. We failed sometimes in other places, in some areas. So we I think we were better learners. So we began better. You know what we did? We first had a proper concept of ministry. Ministry, in the beginning, we thought we would do this and this and this and this, but now no. Ministry flows out of being. This is what we realized then and believe even more and more as the days go by. ministry flows out of being. Who we are is what we put into anything we do, right? So we got a concept right, straight, and we studied the situation. We would go on prayer walks and pray with our eyes open. And because there were our patients, we knew who was in each house. So it's a small place, so we would walk, and as we walk, we would pray for each home, each house, and the people in that house. Yes, but they wouldn't know we were praying, right? So we went on like this for some time because everybody was a stranger to us. And they were kind of thinking we went there to take away their jobs. That's how people feel. Even in Sandarbha, Bihar, now it's Jharkhand. They felt that way, that somebody from the south would come, was coming to take away, to put some pressure on them, to boss over them. This kind of thing happens. Even you would feel that way, somebody from somewhere else would come. So by now, we didn't get hurt. We expected it. So in the beginning, that was a big thing, but it's natural, we thought. So we started this situation. We identified the needs. It's a totally different country, a different culture. Like I was telling you, it's all single mothers. Very few people who are married. Most of them are Christians. Almost all of them are Christians who are married. And then they're not very educated. Not even high school, most of them. The next generation was going to high school. And there was a lot of crime. Even small children, 12, 14, they would get involved in crime. Somebody would involve them and slowly they would get hooked. Drugs was a big thing. For just a little money, they would do anything. And because they wanted that high right away. Yeah, drinking. It was a pleasure-loving society. Nothing much, no education, not very intellectually stimulating conversations, not that way. It was more pleasure, higher pleasure, high pleasure, drinking, dancing, and this kind of thing, partying. Friday nights it starts, goes on till late Sunday night, and again Monday they start working. Not a very hard-working community. So we identified these needs and looked for opportunities. Then guess what we did? We wrote down our mission statement. By now we had learned, well, it was a long time since we had committed our missions, but we did learn that. And then I should have put our mission statement here. I'm not sure if I did. Anyways, more than that, our mission, global outreach mission, they trusted us so much. Actually, many people just say that, they don't trust Indians so much, maybe, but somehow it was God's favor. They trusted us so much. They were full of appreciation, and they gave us so much freedom to do it anyway. They didn't give us a specific, we just had to be about them. It was not a great support financially, but the Lord taught us how to live with much less. Actually, if you do without something for quite some time, after some time you realize you don't really need all that. So yeah, that's true. So we went on simple living. It was nice also because we had young people coming and living with us, juvenile delinquents that were released from the police station. We would bring them home. People would say, "Oh, they'll kill you, they'll take over." We didn't have much to be taken, so it was okay. And so that in that sense, it was we had a lot of freedom. Dr. Brackwood, and then after him, Dr. Brian Albrecht, they were the top people in global outreach mission. They were so friendly and so trusting, and that also gave us a lot of confidence to go. Albert was one more. It's no more. We and the carpenters, we lived with them, older people older than we were, but we learned so much from their availability to the Lord. Every place, wherever we met the Lord, whoever we met, the Lord helped us to see wonderful things in these people. So many people have contributed. We have learned a little from this person and a little from that person. That way, so many things we're still learning. So where is Belize? Our parents asked this question when we told them God is leading us to Belize. Where in the world is Belize? We had no idea. At that time, we didn't have internet and all. So to show them where it was, there was only one train. What was it? It was Aleppo Bocaro Express, a lousy train. No electricity, no water for longer, and washrooms were terrible. It was like that. But we saw there were times when we spread newspapers near the bathroom, and with our baby sat there because there was no place. So all kinds of things, adventuresome. It was nice. Well, we went to Belize. This was about me when we were going to Southern. Anyway, yeah, we were getting old, I guess. Well, so, well, we went to Belize. This is Belize. This is actually a towel on our door. But look at all the districts. There's 6 districts. This is the whole country. Okay. So capital city was Belmopan. We lived in Independence, Stan Creek district. Tourism is the main industry, so it's a poor country. It's a beautiful country, though. Look at this. This was the government clinic where we worked as volunteers. For different kinds of people, the variety. Creoles, the colored people. Creoles are what? Mixture of Europeans and Europeans and Africans. Then there is Spanish people, almost 50% Spanish people, because Belize is the only English-speaking country in Central America. All the rest, Nicaragua and then Honduras, all those are Mexico. So all these were also totally Spanish-speaking. These people would come there because Belize was financially better off than other countries. And crime also was less compared to the rest of Central America. Then we had Garifunas. Garifunas are a mix of Africans and Africans. Well, East Indians or police, as they used to call them, are people like us, who mostly from Bihar, I guess, yes, who were taken during the British time, because the British ruled Belize. It was also called British Honduras. They still have the queen on their money. Just a figurative head, but they do have the queen on their money. So the British took some Indians from here for laying roads and for sugarcane industry, to help with the sugarcane industry. So some of their descendants stayed back. A little that we could get from them, to find out about their roots, was they would talk about roti and aloo and such things. So we knew they were from North India. Well, we had native Indians, Kechi and Maya Indians, who we see in the movies, that kind of people. Mestizos were one more. The Chinese, the Taiwanese, Lebanese, they were there with their businesses. And then there were a few Indians who did business too. The culture is predominantly Catholic, so materialistic society, like I was telling you, very pleasure loving, less educated, not hardworking, with lots of sad stories, basically low self-esteem, dysfunctional families, and so crime, premarital sex, extramarital sex, a lot of teenage pregnancies. And we have patients coming to us in the OP with all kinds of children looking all kinds of ways and unabashed, getting different last names. So it's that way, shallow relationships on the whole. There's a lack of trust, a lack of love, this kind of thing. It's a weak church. People come for a while, stop for a while, they come back, and this time. The devil has made this the crux of his strategy. So the need was there was no proper knowledge and understanding of God's love. This was a difficult thing for us, because most people grew up without a proper father, a father who cared for them. So they could not appreciate the concept of God as a father. And Mano would always say, maybe in heaven, God will have some special discourse for these people, because it's natural that they can't appreciate God as a father. When we talk about God as a father figure, it's not a pleasant expression that we see. Genuine love, affection, and support from family and friends is definitely lacking. Everybody seems to be lonely. Self-acceptance, healthy self-esteem, these were the needs. Openness, acceptance of one another. No, there was just very superficial, shallow conversations. Absolutely hopeless, hope for themselves, hope for one another. This is what they needed. Oops. Faith, love, joy, and hope, and basic medical care. This was what they needed. So this was what Mano was used to surgery. And then when we saw the place, we thought, just like Shamshaba, maybe we can improvise and do something. But although the place was small, they had some very stringent rules that you had to do this and it had to be this way, like the US. So we couldn't do much professional surgery wise. But then we need to do what the people need, right? So that is where we learned they needed basic medical care, and that is what we had to offer. Well, we had several opportunities to build friendships. The clinic was one nice place because the rules were very different. Here we have in the OP 4 or 5 tables with all of us sitting and patients coming to each one of us there. It's all very private. You have to close the door and talk to them. That was good for us because nicely they tell their stories, they cry, and we can show them the Bible, Spanish and English Bible. We can show them the verse in English, they read it in Spanish. Nicely, we can invite them to our homes, all kinds of things. So that was nice to make friendships. The extra mile we took to go to people with the HIV, people who were HIV positive, who couldn't come home. We didn't have any vehicle then, but we would walk to people's homes to care for them. I had the privilege of looking after them when they were, after they died also. When HIV people die, they're scared to do anything, so they would come, and it was very fulfilling in that sense. That extra mile helped us to win some friendships. Christ Sanctuary and Nazarene churches are two churches that we were involved with. Some Spanish churches too, not very much involved, but Manohar would go for preaching, I would go with him. And we had friends who were patients in the clinic. Horizon was one more place in the north where we had some Indian friends who were business people. So we would go by bus to visit them once a month and do some Bible studies with them. For a weekend, we would go there. Presbyterian Clinic in Pachakan was another one where they didn't have a doctor for quite some time. So we went to help them. And we had those nurses come to us. We had a camp for them when there was some problem there and they had to close the clinic. We asked them to come to our place. We had a nice camp for them at home. Well, I have a beautiful picture. That's my favorite, showing all of them having their quiet time. So I'll show it to you. Well, we worked with other churches and other missions too, which is very, it's a big thing in Belize. They don't share people, but they happily shared us. And our talents, whatever God gave us, they're all very musical blacks. You can see little children, even in the bus, the moment they hear the music, they just get off their mother's lap and start dancing. They just can't resist. They're so musical. So these people want songs, and by God's grace, I could teach them some. I could write some songs. Every time they want a new song, so I could write some and with chords, and that's what we had good times. So God helped us to use our talents. We had an open home, really, really open, and a hospitality that we could offer. Yes, these were all opportunities. Here's our mission statement: to walk close to the Lord and to live honestly before Him and them. So our life was an open book. To share the message of the gospel with the people God brings across our paths, and to disciple those who are saved. To be channels of God's love to them so that they will understand His love for them and learn to love themselves. To help believers grow in their relationship with the Lord. To help believers build loving and meaningful relationships. To help build strong family relationships. This was a big need. To concentrate on a few people from each of the two churches and train them to be leaders and role models. To gradually throw ourselves out of a job and continue our friendship from India. Nobody taught us this. Actually, we found a nice book later on after we did everything. So I wish we saw it earlier, but somehow God just affirmed us with that book. But this we wrote down, and guess what? We just wrote it on an A4 paper and stuck it on our wall. But we were not looking at it all the time. But guess what? By the time we left Belize, we had done exactly this. All praise and glory to the Lord. Truly, we had done exactly like this. And today we continue our friendships. But what the Lord did in the clinic, these are our staff in the clinic. This is Nurse Bennett. She's a fine believer. This fellow doesn't have a father, a son, Antoine. So he was very depressed. He went through a lot. And Mano kind of stood there as his father figure. And we had a lot of times of crying, this, that. But now he's a young man, quite confident and happily serving the Lord. This little girl is one girl she adopted. So that was another problem there at Justine. So by God, this we could be of some help to this family. Nurse Bennett is a great nurse. Their hypertension with high BP. There's one lady, Julie, she just forgot her medicine. In the beginning, we did some free camps here and there, just to win, just know people. And then this lady nicely forgot her medicines and went away. And then we asked Nurse Bennett, she went on a bike, gave it in her home. She's so sincere. So we did our best for this lady. What the Lord did in Pastor Fish's church. Manu was preaching in Sunday service, adults class in Sunday school we were taking, Monday prayer meeting, Tuesday cell group, Wednesday Bible study, Thursday youth group, Friday sharing service, Saturday men's Bible study, something is started and it's still going on. We have Pastor Fish, but these pastors, they have hardly any education, so understanding the Bible, interpreting, teaching is something else. So we used to help them, like during the week, they would come, we would write down, they would say it, it was kind of like a mock session. Then on Sunday, I would sit in the back and take notes. And then and on Monday, we would come and I would kind of give a feedback. He would ask, what Sister Shobha, did I go into the bush? He would say, bush means just, going on a tangent, forgetting the theme. So yeah, sometimes you did. So that's how we helped him. And it was a very satisfying experience, because after we come back, he is there better equipped. And we had this church also write their mission statement, because they were kind of just going on without a sense of direction. Personal mentoring, Leon is one great guy. Charles is one more. He was started off as a patient. Remember, there he accepted the Lord. Just then he prayed and accepted the Lord, and then he got a call from his wife, and his wife said, bring me some cigarettes. And oh, what did he say? I can't handle this. He's still a very wonderful brother. We have really kind of fallen in love with this guy. He's so sweet, very sincere, and still loves the Lord. Not very educated, but very passionate for the Lord. Then Kent and Boyd are two people who are drifting now. Sad, if you remember their names, we'll be happy if you can pray for them. Sabino has come back. Samantha and Jessica, two young girls who are really strong, and I'm so proud of them. They started off as young girls school, and now Samantha is a doctor, married to another doctor, and we're still in touch with her. She loves the Lord. She has a child with some problems, and at that time she grew closer to the Lord. Her sister Jessica at one time was close to the Lord. Now she's kind of struggling. So we would appreciate your prayers for Jessica too. This is Pastor Fish's church where they worship. This is Elena, the one with the red pants. Here is Louis. Louis is one more who actually came to the Lord in Manu's ministry. He spoke to him about the Lord. But the last visit we made, he was not very faithful to the Lord. So we went and saw him, but I spoke to him, but nothing much has happened yet. The rest are all quite strong in the Lord. Mano preaching. This is Charles, who Mano had the privilege of baptizing. This is the guy who said, I can't handle it when his wife asked for cigarettes. What the Lord did in Pastor Simpson's church. Pastor Simpson also not very educated. He was studying in Bible Belt and he really couldn't do anything much. So we were kind of, his professor was friendly with us. So we spoke to her and asked her for permission to help him with his assignments because he couldn't do them. So it was a nice experience for us too, because it was like we were also going to Bible college. Then all these people here, and this is all Colin. This is also one guy whose parents broke up, and he was very hurt, and he went through really something. We could be supportive to him. We helped him go to a camp where he came to know the Lord, and now see, look in this picture with both his dad and mom. So he has learned to love his father. Oh yeah. Okay, this is another picture. This is our involvement in the Nazarene Church. Regarding what the Lord did in Corazon, we have one happy story, one sad story. The one in red is Geeta. She, satsang they talk about. So they were that kind of people. So they were after this master and Guruji, and they would talk about Diwali as Indian Christmas and that kind of thing. Confused. So we had to spend a lot of time with them. When we first met, they would give us one carpet, and near the steps we would just put it there and sleep. They would sleep in their AC rooms, and they would give us that. So anyway, after a year or so, they got to love us when they gave us their AC. Anyway, it doesn't mean anything, but just to tell you how mentally prepared we were to know that in the beginning things will be this way and things will change, because God is at work. The one in the center, the lady who's smiling, the one with the sleeveless light blue, she's Lydia. She's a wonderful Christian. The lady next to her, between the red and the blue, one blue lady, this one is Monte. She's a pediatrician from Nicaragua. Single lady. She came to know the Lord. Now she's a strong Christian and a wonderful friend to us. Well, this is Maya, Geeta's cousin, and she and her son Naveen, both of them were even baptized. She accepted the Lord, a big story and all. But now something happened with her business. And she thinks that she made a mistake. Maybe she should have followed the master in the sense that son still. So she is struggling still. This is the happy story that I was telling you about. This tall guy is Prakash. They're also Indians, but he was short too. He went through quite a bit, but he's very faithful to the Lord and he's serving the Lord right now. In Pachakan, these are the nurses that came to our place. This is our home. There we did a leadership camp, a training camp for them on the home only. We were cooking, we were teaching, put all the chairs outside and they were sleeping there. It was a wonderful experience. Yeah, they were good students. We had everything on the wall. This is the beautiful picture I was telling you about. How in the mornings they would all have their quiet time, and they still do, and they report. They tell us we're having quiet time. Every week Mano has a Bible study with these people. So they tell us what the Lord did on our friends' lives. This is the friend I was telling you, Dr. Montenegro. She's a pediatrician, Catholic lady, lost her mother, single. She came alone to Belize and she settled down. Very lonely and at that time, but now she's confident, lives by herself and says, I'm not alone, the Lord is with me. Oh, you live alone? Somebody asked. She said, no, I don't live alone. The Lord is with me. So she's doing really best. There's a couple, Boyd and Elena. What the Lord did in the high school. Here we have our students, most of them were from our Sunday schools, both places. Yes, here, there they have a big graduation event for high school. Mano got opportunities to speak at high school. At home, this is Dr. Danny. Maybe some of you know Danny is a dermatologist. He was a dermatologist when he was here from Osmania. He was a good friend here too. There he went and did allergy specialist. He is immunologist. He's from Harvard. So he said he would visit us one Christmas. So we arranged for just a thing for doctors, and we had a small PowerPoint on hypersensitivity, autoimmunity. So this was a great opportunity for us to talk to other doctors about Jesus. These are doctors from Cuba. We would have them over for lunch. They came to work in Belize. Belize and Cuba had an understanding governments. So that is how we could share the gospel with them. These are against young girls who are all in my saris because they had some program in the school and they wanted to represent India. So I dressed them up, made some Indian food puri and taught them one Indian song and an Indian dance. And that's how I started a friendship with these people actually. The girl in violet is Jessica. She's the one I told you about. These are people from the banana ship. Belize, they export bananas to England, and these Indians are from the ship that takes those bananas. Somebody had a crush injury. They came to the clinic, and then we saw an Indian face. So then he talked about. He took us to the ship, and there they gave us a beautiful dinner. Everybody was offering stardust and all kinds of magazines because they thought we must be missing India. So they asked us why we were there, and we had a great opportunity to tell them our testimony, just like very non-invasively, and then give them the gospel. It's getting stuck. Yes. Well, this is Samantha, the girl with the blue check shirt. She's really doing so well. She loves the Lord, and she's struggling with her child because she's sick, but she's close to the Lord. We're very happy for her. This guy is our prize, the guy who's praying, Jerome. He is now a pastor, maybe the best pastor in Belize, and we had the privilege of mentoring him for many years. We've been in Belize for 6.5 years nearly. So he was with us, and we had great times. Another girl named Cordelia too. She waited for a long time to get married because people there don't usually get married. She wanted a big one. She wanted to get married. So waited for a long time. So we really appreciate her commitment to the Lord. Both of them are a good team. No, Jerome married somebody else. Cordelia married somebody else, but they're a good team. This guy is, Mano was helping him with some studies because at that time I was speaking to his mother, Tamar. She had gone back from the Lord big time, and we had several sessions, but now she's a wonderful Christian. We talk now and then. these are some girls. Actually, this is a great story. These are only some of a group. We had a group of 27 kids. These kids are kind of off the street, some from some difficult homes and all that. So we had quite a combination. Some of them would come so dirty. They would take a bath in our home. I would make chicken and rice for them. They would make rice and beans and chicken for them. So they would have, this is a dining table, they would have food, and some would sit here and there. It was quite a group. And after that, I trained them for 2 years, nearly 2 years. I didn't have a job there. They took my office for the pharmacy, and at that time I was so depressed. But and then they asked Manu and me to share my office. But Manu was already missing surgery, so I didn't want him to have an alternate day or OP. So at that time I thought it was okay. I said, it's okay, you can work. I'll stay at home. And I was just cooking and being there for people. But after some time, I became very depressed and asked, what did I come here for? Leaving a good job, a nice group in the medical college and all that. But God really lifted me up. Somehow I saw these children. I never did this before. I simply thought, why can't I do something for these children? So I said, I'll train you for high school entrance exam. So that's what we did. Maths and their history. I brought those books and studied maths, history, and English and science. So these 4 subjects I taught them for 7th. They're at 7th, not 6th like it's for us. So I trained them for high school. Except 3 children, 24 of them got it. They passed. But because that high school was small and they didn't have enough staff, they raised the cutoff. So a lot of them wouldn't get seats again if the cutoff would be raised. So disappointed. So after Mano went to the clinic, I prayed and went to one person. We were good friends, Alvin and Claudia. Alvin was a businessman. He had a shrimp farm. So I went to him and I was on banana work also. So I went to him and said, this is what we did for the kids, and now the cutoff is raised. So if they don't go to school, they'll again be on the streets, they'll take to crime. Can you please help? I thought he was a big man, so he'd probably make a call to the principal and the principal will get back to the old cutoff. That was what my expectation was, because I think like Indians. But he did something else. Guess what? He went to other business people and collected some money, $1 million. Well, $1 million Belize dollars is $500,000 US dollars. Okay. So he made that much money and he took it and gave it to the principal, to the school people. And just in a few months, they built another building and they made this school a shift system. The same staff they used here also. And all our 24 children got into the school. So I really feel happy that I didn't work in the clinic for 2 years. In the beginning, I was throwing tantrums to the Lord, but God was very patient with me. This is what the Lord did for us. This is a surprise from heaven. It was our 25th Silver Jubilee wedding anniversary. We didn't tell anybody. Well, we thought we were quiet. What else? So we went there and prayed. Especially, we thought. And then we hadn't told anybody, but somebody, this Alvin and Claudia, they came to us and said, we've been praying about you. The Lord is leading us to do something for you. We want to do something nice for you. What is that? San Pedro. San Pedro is a nice key, all Hollywood stars and all go there. It's a really class. And something that people like us shouldn't even think about. But these people arranged something and guess what? They booked our tickets, everything, and they brought it to us. And it was right for those dates. A Silver Jubilee, a day before, a day later, next. That should be the Lord, don't you think? So we went there and from the airport, there were people from the hotel to carry our luggage. There and all, we would do everything ourselves, even cleaning the bathroom. Somebody was carrying our luggage. And it was so touching because God was so kind. He didn't have done this. It would have been okay. But somehow He made it very special for us. So we came back and we brought our own cake. And in the church, we wanted to celebrate with our friends. So here we are. These are our struggles. These were our struggles. Being nobody's was difficult. I must be honest, because here we were really somebody's. And suddenly we went there and people were thinking we came there to take away their jobs. Why couldn't we stay in our own country? So finding our sense of worth. Plus there was not much professional work to show that we could do something. So we had to take that. So finding our sense of worth in him and in Jesus, that was one thing we began to learn. We had a weak psyche. You can see our cricketers, all of us are the same. So the moment something happens, we get so hurt, so demoralized. It'll take a while to get up and we get going again. So we learned not to take ourselves too seriously. I'm saying we learned, but sometimes I feel we are still learning here. So it's a process. The Lord is patient with us. Lack of professional satisfaction was also a difficulty, but we learned that to do it as unto the Lord. It's not what we are doing; it's for whom we are doing that makes it worthwhile. I was sick. I prolapsed 2 discs and was in bed for a long time. We would write MRIs and all that for patients, but we couldn't afford anything. So it was difficult at that time, but being humble and depending on him was quite a lesson. Low finances, like I said, we learned to live with less, and it was nice because we felt it was we too could do something for the Lord, you know, to depend on the Lord. Then loneliness was a big thing, and I'm sharing this because if you want to help missionaries and if you can't even send anything, but you can write a letter, you can make a call, you can send a mail. It means so much. Unforgiveness was a big thing with missionaries, but when things happened, it was hard to forgive. Because we would feel like, yeah, we are here leaving our jobs and everything, and we've come here for them, and they think this way. We expect that people should be grateful and appreciative. So it was a big thing to learn to forgive, and it was really, really very satisfying. This lesson is something that we can learn only when somebody hurts us, right? But we can learn to forgive only when we get hurt. So God, in His goodness, allowed some major hurts. So we learned some major components of forgiveness. Learning to love unconditionally, that was another thing. This is the kind of love that we receive from God. So this is the kind of love that love one another as I have loved you. That's what He told us. So this was one beautiful lesson that the Lord taught us. In the beginning, we felt superior. We thought this is not a neat culture, they're not getting married, and this and this and that. But we learned not to feel superior. We don't know what we would have done if we would have been in the same, grown up in the same situation, right? So choosing to be humble, dying to self, that is one lesson that we began to learn in Belize. Being judgmental, that was one big thing that we had coming from some legalistic churches. Somewhere we felt this is wrong and this is right, and that kind of thing, but not to play God and to be patient, like He is patient with them. That is one of the things that we learned. Our differences, both of us, sometimes when things go wrong, our differences, they get magnified. When things are going right, they're all dying, but then otherwise they become big. So forgiving and accepting and each other and working and dying to self, even in our own relationship. This is another big thing that we started off the Arpan struggles was one thing. At the beginning, he had gone away from the Lord, so we were fasting, praying 40 days, all that. So that was also a satisfying experience because he did come back to the Lord after quite some time, though. But it was a nice process that taught us to just wait on Him. We got so busy. Sometimes we got too busy. Maybe we're busier than God wanted us to be. So we have learned to slow down. Now again, we're learning that lesson to slow down and to enjoy His rest. 6+ precious years in Belize. This is the best part of our lives. We're eternally grateful for what the Lord did in us, and for what He did in them. But it was time to leave. Our friends were growing in their dependence on the Lord too. In witnessing and personal evangelism, they were doing that. They were caring for one another. Something wonderful happened. The whole culture changed. They were caring for one another. They were becoming accountable. We now have 3 small groups there. So some have grown into leaders. Like I was telling you, Jerome is now a pastor. Relationship among church members improved unbelievably. There are now enough doctors in Independence. Actually, some other doctors also came. And we were very loved, doing well financially at that time. In the beginning, we were on support from the mission, which was very less. But then later on, Mano had a job with the government, so we were doing quite well. So Belize was slowly becoming our comfort zone. So we thought, is the Lord guiding our move back to India? They asked us to go to South America, Brazil, I think, and then Africa, Congo also. But we thought if we go, we're getting older and it's just for us. Maybe we should go back and give a vision for missions to our students. So we came home. We didn't have a place to stay. We stayed with his brother for some time, Sikindrabad, Sun City. Then now here we're in Sun City. We worshipped in Secunderabad Bible Fellowship, but after we came back, we were disappointed there also because the people there who were supporting us were not there anymore. India was now different because we had also changed some, but people had changed and our friends have moved somewhere else. And the church is different, our neighborhood is different, workplace is different. So this also felt like missions. So it was like when we went for missions, we expected it, but now it was like we were going home, but it home was no longer like it used to be. So it was difficult getting reoriented. That's why I put so many dots. We're still getting reoriented after it's more than 10 years, but it was not easy. Well, right now Manu at that time tried Shamshabad again, but it didn't work. God had given a lot of success earlier. But then probably he thought we knew we needed it. Now we didn't. I mean, his plan was something else. So it didn't really click. He worked with Joyce May Ministries for some time, and NIRD for some time, trying to get back to ENT. Now he has a small clinic and he pastors a church. I help him with the church work, and I'm working. We are friends of this mission still, global outreach mission, but we don't have any financial support from them. We want to be role models for our students as tent makers. So I'm working in a private medical college, and this keeps us going. Arpan is now married. They both still continue to live in the US. These are our church programs. I'm not advertising for Jars or Clay Fellowship, but we are happy that God is blessing our work. Well, yes, God's with not one hole, many holes, but God is still working on us. So to Yoni Corpus with love, amazing work. God's hand is evident. You're a great team, great leadership. May the Lord establish the work of your hands. This is what David says in Psalm 90, maybe 17, yeah, verse 17. God is not unjust. He will not forgive your work and the love that you have shown him. As you have helped his people and continue to help them. This is a beautiful verse from Hebrews 6:10, which we would like to remind you as God's promise for the rest of your ventures. Well, to young doctors, with love, we want to tell you that you should remember that ministry is not just doing, being is more in being. Is ministry is being. Ministry should flow out of being. Who we are is what we put into our work, our marriages, our ministry. So we don't let God work on us, and if we don't work on what we need to do with ourselves, wherever we work, it is the same story, right? So we'll make the same mistakes. So it's important to concentrate on our being and to let God do what only He can do, and let ourselves do what we need to do. I think it was C.S. Lewis who said that, no, C.T. Studd who said that every man, every heart with Christ is a missionary. Every heart without Christ is a missionary. Is that true? Anywhere we are, because God needs, everybody needs a savior. God's love is a big need every place, right? And there are places where only you can go, I can go, not others. So wherever we are is our mission field. See, Jesus also called people when they were actively fishing. Active, not simply waiting for words, right? So let us be missionaries and our mission field. And adaptability, that's the name of the game, you know. If, especially Telugu people were so particular about our food and this and that, small things. But once we are available to the Lord and adaptable, we can let God work on us. I have a small suggestion for young people. If each college, medical college, can please adopt one mission hospital. That will be nice because batch wise, maybe somebody can go, two couples can go. And the biggest problem is children's education. So if you can go there and work for a few years and overlap with another two families for maybe a couple of years or 1 year, and then leave them and get back to your own states. One medical college could take care of one mission hospital. It would be really nice. Well, think about it. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm grateful to the Lord and grateful to Uni Corpus.